Sup, losers? Just came back from a date, hence the clothing. Now, I know what you're thinking right away. Vosh, don't you think wearing an informal sport jacket like that would pair better with an Oxford or maybe a light chambray? And yeah, I'm sorry, I just don't have one yet, so draped twill it is for the shirt. Oh, but isn't white too formal of a color to... I know. Thankfully, the date went well. Didn't end disastrously, as you might think it had based on the color choice. TikTok bent the knee to Trump as well. Well, maybe that's not the best way of saying it. Look, I got to keep this short and sweet, okay? Because we're still on the date night. Obviously, from day one, Donald Trump has been the loudest voice in banning TikTok. He first fronted it back in 2020. Republicans were the most active in promoting the idea. Donald Trump is now in a position to save young Americans, because they're the primary consumers of TikTok content, from the consequences of his actions. And it seems that he has colluded with TikTok so that they provide this insane notification that pops up if you use TikTok in the United States right now. Can you think of any other time there has been some kind of legal or technical mishap that has caused a pop-up to directly reference, oh, don't worry, this specific president is working on the case? No, of course not. It's collusion, much in the same way that Twitter is bought and owned by Musk, the shadow president, and therefore the Republicans. Much the same way that Zuckerberg has bent the knee with Meta, with Instagram and Facebook. The American wing of TikTok now seems interested in doing the Trump administration's bidding. Why? Isn't TikTok owned by ByteDance? Isn't ByteDance largely controlled by the Chinese Communist Party, or at the very least beholden to it? Well, yeah, to a large extent. Certainly, at the very least, it's there is an association there. ByteDance is not as beholden to the United States government as, say, Meta is. But there is a shared interest nonetheless, and it's not really about Trump. It's about capital. I know this flies in the face of what a lot of people online, especially right now, seem to believe, but China is also run by oligarchs. It's just that for the most part, those oligarchs are kept tightly constrained within the national interest. That is to say, the Chinese Communist Party works in tandem with and is comprised of many very wealthy and powerful people with undue, undemocratic power, and they use that power to enrich themselves. But there is a constraint towards the national interest. TikTok doesn't operate in China, of course. They don't want that brain rot. They inflict that on us. But it is nonetheless, an agent of capital. I think what we're looking at here is plain and simple: complete, utter consolidation. All the social media companies, all the companies broadly, everything, everywhere falling into line, all the systems of power. And it's not Trump. Trump is borderline powerless. Trump's only power right now is in his ability to command the interest and attention of his fans, his followers. In reality, this is capital moving in maybe the most obvious and naked and unrestrained way we have seen in modern history. I don't think anything quite compares to this. Again, we are talking about a level of collusion where even a foreign-owned social media platform is making direct deals with the president to, glaze him and give him an easy win on day one when he comes in and, I don't know, stops this crisis that isn't really happening from happening. It's scary. I won't lie. It really is. And there are going to be a lot of people crowing over this. There are going to be a lot of people saying, wow, thank you, Donald Trump, so much for your totally sincere and real effort to save TikTok from, censorship that you and your party promoted heavily. There are going to be people pointing out the Democrats horrendously mismanaged this. I don't even call it mismanagement, because at this point, the Democrats have been so incompetent, so maliciously incompetent, so abstemious for so long that I just have to believe that they're getting cut the same checks as the GOP is. I know that's not exactly a new observation. Wow, did you know that the American dual party system is actually a uniparty with slightly different, perspectives on social issues, and they actually serve the same corporate interests? Yeah, we know. It just wasn't always this obvious. All the people who pretend that it was always this obvious, this straightforward, will be like, no, it was actually always like this. No, it really wasn't. We're in a new era. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to say about it. I guess it's just one of those naked, obvious power grabs that you usually hear about in the context of some Tim Pot dictatorship, or some banana republic or whatever. Obvious crises manufactured and solved for the solely for the purpose of giving dear leader another few rounds of applause. We are on the cusp, I feel, of the most ruthless and relentless resource extraction in the West, of the West, at least within the past century. Like, we are returning to that point. Democracy was pushed to its breaking point because no matter what you do on like an electoral level, no matter what you do democratically, no matter what you do to go out and rock the vote or whatever, show up, Pokemon go to the polls, if you allow the systems that have funneled trillions into the hands of like 10 people to continue to operate for that accumulation, to build and to build and to build and to build, eventually you reach this breaking point where it doesn't matter how progressive society has gotten. It doesn't matter how much it feels like we've come up from the bad old days. It was only a little more than half a century ago, of course, the civil rights movement, women's suffrage, slavery. It's not that far back in history, but eventually you reach a point where the power of those on top is so overwhelming that it literally does not matter what you do under it, And we're kind of reaching that point. This suggests a level of consolidation and a level of naked, transparent power flexing that I think bodes like really dark times. I would not be surprised to see an unprecedented crackdown on free speech beginning soon, dressed up. You'll get like the most ruthless anti-constitutional destruction of people's rights, removal of journalists, whatever, and then the people conducting and defending it will go on Joe Rogan. They'll wear a backwards baseball cap, and Joe Rogan will be like, yeah, dude, that's crazy, man. You ever taken DMT? And then they'll be exonerated in the eyes of the public, and it won't matter because everyone's getting paid off by the same small group of people. The military-industrial complex is cycling like an incomprehensible amount of money around a whirlpool. It doesn't matter like what you do. The only things acting against this force, this pattern, is A, the fact that global stability is good for trade routes, and B, the fact that in large part this still all kind of requires public support, public consensus, which is why so much effort is being put into deluding people with nonsense like this. And the fact that it's necessary for them to expend that effort means that it is still, at least theoretically, possible that if enough people wake up, it could still mean something, though God only knows how long that's going to be the case for. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, got a hot date. Hope you do too. Gotta take what you can get. In these dark times, you gotta have fun.